What's up? Today's the big day. How much horsepower is too much horsepower for your 3-valve Mustang? I am going to answer that age-old question based off of 15 years experience building a 3-valve Mustang. I'm going to show you dyno graphs, and I'm going to do a Q&A session at the end, and we're also going to talk about these types of superchargers, what they do. Let's get this party started. Brent from Brenspeed. Thanks for watching Brenspeed TV. And like I said today, hey, first, did you guys listen to all those Mustangs making dyno pulls? That sounded sweet. So here's what we have going on. I want to show you, I'm not trying to make a video about necessarily what supercharger is best for you, but in a minute when you look at the dyno graphs, maybe this will help you give a little bit better understanding of what we're looking at. I just have 3 different blowers out here right now. First, we have our Vortec. This is a 1200. I have Doug with me, we're gonna take a look at it. So this is what's called a centrifugal, not centrifugal, or if you try to pronounce it how it's spelled, this is a centrifugal supercharger. Here's what they do. When you hammer the car, they build boost with RPM. So when you first hammer it, there's not really any boost, and it comes up with RPM. So by 3 grand, let's say, you have a couple pounds of boost, and as your RPM builds up to red line, let's say 6,500, you're gonna be at your max PSI. Depending on the kit, it might be 8 or 9, it might be 11. And then you go over here to what we call our TVS style superchargers. I have a Roush right here. I have an Edelbrock. Okay, these instantly, when you hammer the car, you have almost full boost. They use an Eaton rotor pack. So depending on what you do with the car, you may want something with boost coming in slow. You may want something with boost coming in fast. So like a Kenny Bell or Whipple, those are more like a twin screw, very similar to this. These are what we call TVS style, but they're all full boost right when you hammer it. When we go look at the dyno graphs, I'll show you that and it'll make more sense to you. When you're looking at them, why do some cars have more torque early? Why do some have more torque later? So this is not a question about what is the max horsepower you can have on your 3-valve Mustang. That's the myth. It's about torque. We're worried about rear wheel torque. And this is gonna make sense to you when we go look at the dyno graphs. But at Brenspeed, we have turnkey supercharger packages. These are all designed for your stock engine Mustang, all right? I have my first 3-valve Mustang December of 2004. This is 2019, we're rolling into winter. This has been a long time that I've been doing this. And through doing these in here every single week, having all my own cars, doing a lot of drag racing, I can tell you what's normally the safe place to be. Hey, like anything, there's no guarantees in life. These cars are mass produced. But from building so many of them, we have a really, really good idea of where you can be on the power. So, hey, I have an 18 Mustang. Training went out. Ford warranted it, okay? So maybe 1 out of however many thousands of cars that happen. That's not the rule of thumb. You got a guy with a 3-valve that breaks his engine. 1 out of a ton. That's not the rule of thumb. But what I'm going to show you on these dyno graphs is a rule of thumb, and I like keeping the power relatively around 450 rear wheel torque. And when you look at these graphs, you'll understand why the horsepower is not my main concern, why we're talking about torque. So get horsepower out of your head. It's all going to make sense in a minute. Let's go check it out. All right, so here's what I did. I brought up the last 12 3-valve cars we built here over the summer, and I have horsepower ranges to the tires all over the board, Dynojet rated SAE, torque all over the board. And it's crazy looking at this, but come up here, I've dug right here. So these real horsepower numbers, everywhere from, this top one's 496, we've got some 500s, we got 551, 567, 513. All right, so they're all over the board. And we have torques down here. What do these torques have in common? Pretty much very similar. A lot of 437s, 446, I like that. We have a 458 down here, I like that. I try to keep these numbers around 450 or less. And yeah, you might have one makes like 465. It's not gonna be a big deal. But here's why this is important. So there's two specific numbers I wanna show you. All right, so we're gonna go up here. We talk about why it's not real horsepower, okay? Why I focus on torque. I'm gonna explain why these numbers are different. So right here, this orange one, 452 real horsepower. So let's say this guy says, I have 452. His torque was 430. Cool, awesome. Well, this guy in the bottom, I make 513 real horsepower. Well, this guy's torque is 420, all right? This is why you can't go off real horsepower. Focus on torque. Things like cams, things like headers. This is what raises your real horsepower. Your peak torque number doesn't change a whole lot. When I say peak, I mean like the max RPM you make your peak torque. Let's say it changes 10, okay? But the cams and the headers will maintain that torque longer. So the torque's gonna stay, not necessarily keep going up, it's gonna stay longer instead of just dropping right off, but that real horsepower is gonna keep climbing. Cams, headers, great mod to put on a stock engine with a supercharger. Your rear wheel torque peak barely changes, but you're gonna hold that torque longer, and that's what we want. So something else I wanna show you over here. Centrifugal versus TVS, or twin screw. I gotta move these out of the way. I know I have a lot going on right here, but all right, so TVS, oh, here's what we're looking at. We have Kenny Bells, Whipples, Roush, we have Edelbrock, we have Paxton 2200, we have Vortec, non-intercooled. Look at this, right here, torque. So the ones that the torque's high right away, these are definitely your TVS or twin screw superchargers. The one the torque's low, that's your centrifugal. Remember I said at 3,000, you'll have 1 or 2 pounds of boost, where these have maybe your full 8, maybe 9 right away. Then as RPMs go up, these ones that are high up here, that's your centrifugal, because you're building boost with RPM. And then the torque right here, the torque stays up higher. Your peak doesn't really change over here, but it hangs in higher with a maybe cam header car than maybe, let's say, one that doesn't have it. So it's really hard, it's complicated to kind of explain that, but it's not the real horsepower, or it's not the flywheel horsepower, it's the torque we need to watch. Here's another reason why. Let's say you had stock cams, you had stock headers, and let's say you got a car making, whatever, 470 real horsepower with stock cams, stock headers, which would be a bitchin' combo. You want more power, and let's just say you add boost to do that, all right? Rather than cams and headers. Well, when you add that boost, your torque is gonna shoot way up, all right? Your real horsepower is gonna go up some too, but your peak torque is gonna go up, and you're probably gonna surpass, if you have a turnkey package, like one of ours that we recommend for a stock engine, it's probably gonna go up higher than we would suggest you having, because you're trying to get the real horsepower up. But really, if you put in cams and headers, you're gonna maintain that peak torque that you had earlier longer, and your real horsepower will go up, and you're not gonna have so much stress on the rods. The rods are the problem. You typically aren't gonna have a piston problem unless you have crappy fuel. So all of our packages that we have, pretty much anyone that's a supercharger package, is premium fuel. Don't try to run something low. So 91, 92, 93 octane, something higher like that. So I wanted to try to show you these graphs to show the difference in the twin screw / Eaton supercharger versus centrifugal, and why the torque is what we're worried about. It's about breaking rods, all right? Real horsepower, not a big deal, because I just showed you a car that made 450, one that made 513, and hell, Doug, look at this. Here's a car that made 567 real horse, which freaks a lot of people out. Oh, I need a 4-inch engine, you know, you should have that. But look down here, it's torque 458, right where we want it. So get the horsepower out of your head, worry about the torque. Again, I say 450 is a rule of thumb, but it doesn't matter if you're a little bit higher. You can always go lower. But from history over the last 15 years, that's where typically you're gonna be good to go. I'm gonna walk upstairs, gonna do a Q&A session. I'm gonna take like the top maybe 5 questions you always ask about, maybe you've got a bunch of miles on your car, or should I do this, should I do that? Let's go answer those right now. You know, on second thought, before we go do the Q&A, 3-valve Mustang, the Roush Supercharger, Detroit Rucker cams, headers. Let's see what this bad boy lays down. Open the door. here's another one. 504 real horsepower SAE, 6,300 RPMs, 442 torque. Torque across the board like normal. You'd expect to have a Roush, but check this car out. She drag races. She races in the NMRA, so we got the race star wheels, sticky tires. It's a manual training car. She runs a two-step, launches pretty high RPM, drag suspension. This car is drag raced down the track and shifted hard. So it's another example of how this power level is not bad on a stock engine. But okay, there's that. How to make the pull. Let's go do that Q&A. All right, it's time for the Q&A session. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I have some things I wrote down right here that, basically questions you guys ask me all the time on YouTube. So the number one question is 500 horsepower, the limit. I see people commenting. All right, I just explained that to you. So I'm not gonna treat you like my little kids and repeat myself over and over, which I don't like to do. So we all know 500 horsepower is not the limit on a stock 3-valve Mustang. Hey, next. How many miles or too many miles have on my car to install one of your turnkey packages? Well, this really depends on how your car's been maintained. So I have no problem with a car with 100,000 miles. It's been taken care of. We've done it. We put superchargers on cars that have 130,000 miles. So if you have a nice, reliable 3-valve Mustang, it's been taken care of. When I say taken care of, I mean it's been serviced. You've basically taken care of it over the life of the car. You're not rolling on like 9,000 mile oil changes. You should typically be good to go because the engine really doesn't get weaker with time. It's just all the parts like inside, like maybe like the rings and bearings or cam phasers or the camshafts themselves can wear if you don't service it. But if you service your car and you've got 130, even 140,000 miles, good to go to install a supercharger. What do I have next? Will my stock trans and clutch hold, or will my stock automatic hold? All right. Transmission, whether it's a manual or the automatic, typically not a problem, as long as it's been maintained. Clutch, all right, I've seen some weird stuff. The factory clutch will work with a turnkey package, but this is 2019. We're talking about cars from 05 to 10. It might be time for a clutch upgrade. We have plenty of single disc clutches that'll work for these packages. They're not very expensive. My favorite are twin discs, and it's much lighter pedal. That's why I like those. But a stock clutch is typically okay. But I've also seen people that had low mile cars that slip the heck out of the clutch that really can't drive very well. And it almost doesn't last on a stock engine. So it really depends on how you're taking care of the car, how you drive the car. But the stock components are typically okay for a turnkey package. And again, I want to remind you, we're talking about turnkey packages on a stock engine. Next, what else do I need? Well, if you're getting our turnkey package, which on our website, if you go to Brenspeed.com, you go to the 05 to 10 Mustang section, you'll see a wide variety of different brands of superchargers, and you will see 50 state kits. Those are kits from the manufacturer. They're lower horsepower level. They're 50 state legal. Then you see what's called a Brenspeed package. So we see a Brenspeed package. That's what we call our turnkey package. It comes with everything you need. You don't have to go buy anything else. So your injectors, your spark plugs, your calibration, SCT programmer if you don't have one, everything you need. And then you might see some higher horsepower level turnkey packages. It's a little bit beyond a stock engine, but it'll say in the description, we recommend a built engine for this. So do I have enough injectors for my setup? I only mention that because sometimes people call and you piece together a kit. You bought this supercharger used, it came with these injectors. Look at our website. The website says what injectors we recommend, and it's all you need. So if you're trying to run some huge injector, it's kind of a myth as well. A big injector is not going to give you more power. All they do is supply the fuel you need if you're surpassing what the injector, was going to supply. The stock engine in our packages, you're good to go. So you don't go out and buy a 60-pound fuel injector for something that only needs like a 39. If you surpassed a 39-pound injector, you're pretty much ready for a built engine anyways. You probably added more boost than we're supplying our turnkey kits. So use the injectors that come in our kit. Don't try to go buy bigger ones. Sometimes people read online, or just maybe you don't understand how it works. A bigger injector doesn't mean more power. You just don't need it. Cams, headers, intake manifold. I've got all these already. I know a lot of you have 3-valve Mustangs out there with all the bolt-ons. Can I put a supercharger on? Yes, our turnkey packages work with pretty much most aftermarket camshafts, most aftermarket headers, as well as intake manifolds. As you watched earlier and you paid attention, you saw that the things I was talking about don't necessarily increase your peak torque beyond what I feel is safe on a stock engine. It's just gonna keep that torque hanging in longer. And then you could buy, let's say you've got, oh, I've got some camshafts in my car. I've got a Ford Racing manifold. I've got a set of long tube headers. I wanna buy your Paxton package or Roush 560R. We have a calibration for that. Typically, no problem. We can email it to you if you already have an SCT tuner, or we load it on the program before we ship it out and you're good to go. Next, hey, will you make me an install video on that particular kit I just watched a video on? So if you guys watch BrenspeedTV.com, you see I make videos every single week about different things. No, I typically don't make install videos. Everything we sell does come with instructions as far as the superchargers. So if you buy a non-HO Paxton and we ship it to you, or you buy an Edelbrock or a Roush, we ship it to you, they come with instructions, all right? I don't make install videos. I usually make videos on the cars that we built, just so you can kind of see what the capability is of different packages out there. So those are the top Q&A, I should say, that we get all the time on the videos and on the phone calls. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Remember, it's not horsepower, it's torque. Pretty long video. If you're sticking around right now, leave a comment. That's how I'll know you did it, that I watched the whole video. And I will say, awesome, thank you very much. Don't forget, quote@brenspeed.com is what you email to find out how much it costs to get your car built here at Brenspeed, or you can get on our website, brenspeed.com, and we can ship those parts right out to you. Thanks for watching. All right, Doug, what do you think? Think it went good?
I think it went fantastic. And like always, my vehicle with 180,000 miles and a Roush Supercharger never gets mentioned.
Doug has a vehicle called No Love. It's a badass Mountaineer, Roush Supercharged. He calls it No Love because I never talk about it. You guys want to see a video on that thing?
I'd post it.
Of course you would.
Wait, there isn't one.
Isn't what?
A video on No Love.
Right, exactly.